Mario Kart. I've been playing video games since PlayStation 1 came, the Nintendo 1 came out. Come on.
I used to play this on my PS2.
They had something called Atari before Nintendo. Okay.
Hang out with that were church friends. You know, I had my school friends a little bit, but that's about it. So I didn't really take church as seriously probably as I should have. But then when I was about 18, that's when I really became serious and really wanted to live the way God wanted me to live. And so for me, that's when I decided that's really when I was going to dedicate my life to Christ and just live for Him. And if I had to tell you, I would say give your life to Christ as quick as you can and let Him lead you all through junior high and high school and when you go to college and all those things. So you just have you get such a deep background when you do that, and your experience with Christ is just that much deeper with Him when you make that commitment young, and then you just make that deeper and stronger as you go on. And then Kendra kind of told you how we met. So we met at church, and the funny story I like to tell is I asked Kendra out a couple times, and she told me no. She always had an excuse. She was doing this or that, and they were true. I say they're excuses, but they were true. And she finally said yes, and so I lived in a small town, and our first date was, we had our first two dates. Our first 2 dates were pretty interesting. So we had a small town fair, and Garth Brooks, if anybody ever heard Garth Brooks, before he became real popular as a country singer, we went to a Garth Brooks concert. And so that was my very first date with Kendra. And then our second date, guys will love this one. We went to a truck and tractor pull, which is really cool. Kendra probably didn't care for that so much, but it was fun. That was our first 2 dates, and then it just kind of built from there. And like Kendra said, we really hung out a lot, and we talked a lot and became really good friends. We dated for 3 months before I asked Kendra to marry me, so that was not very long. But I just knew that God had put Kendra in a place and put her in my life, and that was pretty cool for me. And we both just knew, but we spent probably every day together at some point. I would drive to see her after work, and we spent lots of time together, and I'd go home, spend the night, go to work, go back to her house, and we just, we spent all the time together becoming friends. So if I have advice for you as you continue to grow older, become friends with the person that you are getting next to. Get to know them, and you're not quite to the age where you're looking to marry anyone or anything like that, but as you're building relationships and you're getting to know people, get to know them, because that's really important, is to get to know who they are and all those things. And then we've lived Missouri and Colorado back and forth a little bit, and had 2 boys, and hopefully raised them the way God wants us to raise them. And we're at a place now where we still hang out and we're still good friends. Kendra's my wife, and I love her to death, but she's still my good friend. And so I just love hanging out with her. So that's kind of cool.
So can I ask a question?
You can ask anything you like.
What was the moment when you decided I'm gonna ask her? Like, what was happening? What was going on in yourself? What was going on around you?
Like I was just saying, we got to become really good friends. I knew also that Kendra was a Christian, and again, I knew I wanted to marry a Christian woman, and it just got to be the point where I wanted to spend all of my time with Kendra. My free time, all those things like that, and I just knew that not too long down the road after we were dating, and we had kind of the same goals as far as life goes, especially in our Christian lives together. Mm-hmm. And I just knew that I wanted to spend my life with her, sharing those experiences, and I didn't want to wait, so it didn't take very long.
It's all right.
Well, I guess I'm going to ask. So, any other questions?
You guys live in a different world than we did, so you have a little more pressure, you have a lot more going on. There's a lot of things that the world says, oh, it's okay, just go ahead and try it. You know, your friends, I don't know if you've ever been pressured, but you will be pressured to maybe try smoking or weed or, you know, hanging out with the wrong crowd, being with the wrong guy or girl. That's real for you guys. It's very difficult to stand up and say no in a world that's trying to pull you in. So, you know, if there's anything that Eric and I can ever do, if you want to pull me aside or you want to say, hey, Miss Kendra, I'm really struggling, would you pray? You don't have to tell me what, you can just ask me to pray, and we can do that for you. So those things are real in reality, that Satan wants to pull you into the sin. He's always been against what God wants for your lives, but God has created you. Like I was sharing earlier in that Psalms 139, he knew you. He's the one who made you. He's the one. He knows what's going on right now in your mind. He knows what's going to happen tomorrow and the next day and 12 years down the road. And so just keep turning it back to him. Just keep asking him. Just keep trusting in him. Do you find it hard to say no to things? You pretty good, Tina? Are y'all sisters and brothers? Is that what that is? Are there things that pressure you? Because like Eric and I are old now compared to you. No pressures. I'm sure there are.
And like when I was in 6th grade, I was on the bus and me and my friend, we got caught passing weed and she was smoking it on the bus. And I never really got in trouble because this boy, my ex, he gave me a backpack.
Hold on, pay attention.
And it had some weed in it. And I bring it home and I give it to my brother. And he threw it out. And I never got in trouble because when the principal called my mom, I deleted the call. So yeah, you know, really fun.
So did your friend pressure you to take that, or that's something you just were involved in?
I mean, a little bit of both.
It's easier to say yes, honestly. It's easier to give in and do it because of the pressure. That's what they call it. They call it peer pressure. Because you don't want your friends laughing and ousting you, and that's rough.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Tina.
Wait till we get home tonight.
Any other questions or comments or thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
So I had an ex, and I'm not gonna say what he did, but I ended up breaking up with him after a few months, and I became friends with him again, and I brought him a blacklight dodgeball.
Ew, what is this too? He just stabbed me.
Yeah, and I don't know why I brought him, because what he did was messed up, and I don't know why I refriended him. I did bring him.
Lexi's disappointed
in
in you.
I disowned you for the rest of the night.
He was kind of annoying, and I had to get Jamie to get him away from me.
I just stepped in and said, just act like you guys are new friends, you know? Pretend like that never happened. Act civil for a night.
So you were stepping in on Sabrina's app. Looking out for it.
Yeah, this is they stepping out on the half that I don't want people to start a fight in the middle of my dodgeball. They good.
Well, I didn't really tell. I'm friends with his mom.
At least it wasn't dog pound.
I liked his mom way more than I liked him. Because I know him because him and my mom went to school together. and I went to go. That's why I know him, and I told his mom about it, and he's the one who decided to bring him. So that's why he came.
How old is he?
He's only like a year older than me. Jamie thought he was older because he's
Your mom
like,
went to
he
school
has
with
a
his
beard.
mom.
Yeah.
You sound like you were saying he went to school with your
Yeah.
mom.
No, no, his mom went to school with my mom. I was disturbed.
Lexi was like,
He's not that old.
The
He
moms
has a
went to
beard.
school together.
How would I
No,
know?
he has peach fuzz on his chin. That's not a beard.
Okay, chill, chill,
But
chill.
I would also tell you guys, don't be in a hurry to have boyfriends and girlfriends, and and be in a hurry to be in a serious relationship at some point. Don't make that I've got to do that by a certain time or by a certain grade or by a certain age. Let that work out the way God plans it for your life. Don't let friends or other people pressure you into thinking you have to have a boyfriend or you have to have a girlfriend, because that may not be
Or
where
TV
you're at.
or the movies
yeah.
or any of that.
I mean, that's
They
portrayed
all
in
say
TV,
that.
movies, all those things like that. Don't let that be pressure to do that just because somebody else is doing it. It's great to have friends that are the opposite sex as you. You can have really good friends that way, but you don't have to be in a in a relationship like your boyfriend and girlfriend, or that's just it for right now. And something I always told Kendall and Christopher is especially as they begin to get a little older, is when you begin to get into relationships with a girl, you're looking for a prospective wife, and girls, you're looking for a prospective husband at some point. And as you date, then you want to look for qualities that you would want in a husband or a wife, and look that way. And so those are the kind of people that you want to date and the kind of people you want to get serious about. But you don't have to do that at a certain time. Let that kind of work out just as it works out. Don't let that be pressure to do that at a certain time.
Sabrina, how old are you? I don't know. Are you 14?
Yes, Sabrina, how old are you?
Sabrina, how old are you?
I'm
Stop.
pretty sure 12 or 13.
It's okay.
That hurt. That hurt.
How old are you?
13.
13.
I'll be 40.
Well, I was just going to say there's going to be a
14,
lot of
if you
male
want.
relations. There's going to be a lot of boyfriends that are going to come and go. But maybe you wanted to be friends with him because maybe God was reaching out to you to bringing him to church is a great thing. Introducing him to God is awesome. All the stuff on the earth is wonderful because God created it for us, but that's not really why we're here. We're ultimately here for him because someday there's going to be an eternity for all of us, and you have to make that choice. So there's nothing wrong with being a friend to somebody. I think that's cool. Just look out for her, okay, Leslie?
Appreciate you sharing, Sabrina.
I got it.
You got something?
Melissa, I figured.
Oh, you got her.
Oh, you got her.
We all do. So, V is my ex-subject. So, sometimes people are like, I grew up with a lot of people telling me, oh, listen, you're gonna turn a corner, boom, drugs in your face, what you gonna do? Oh, everyone's gonna be telling you to do all these things. And I'm like, okay. So when it finally comes to time that stuff like that does happen, someone's like, hey, I got some beer, you want some? I'm like, no, they're like, cool, okay, and then they leave. So it just feels like, because it was so hyped up, I'm like, ready, I'm like, no, and they're like, okay. And I'm just like, oh.
That was easy.
The more prepared I was for it, the easier it was to just say, gosh.
But you made that decision first, so that's God honoring. Maybe he was taking care of that for you, looking out for you.
That's broken.
It's not gonna stop. It'll stop the giggles now.
Anybody else?
Do y'all go to school together? Anybody?
These
You
two
guys-
guys go to school together, I know. And you go to school with.
I used to go to school with Joe.
Okay.
Joe?
I used to go to school with Jamie and Melissa.
Just
Just ask that question.
He's quiet.
He's always quiet.
So you all go to school, different schools?
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Well, maybe just wrapping up because I don't want to take up too much of their time. I know they want to play, and thank you all. But maybe I'll ask one last question, and it's kind of a weird question to phrase. But as a woman, what advice would you give the men about understanding women? And as a man, what advice would you give the girls about understanding men?
That's fun.
Look, the girls are gonna answer.
Oh, you girls, you can answer if y'all want to.
Okay. If a woman said, don't ask her what's wrong. She'll only get more upset trying to tell you. You have to ask people what's wrong. No, they'll get more upset. It happens to me all the time. Or just buy her food. It's always the answer. Woman has hormones. And then more food. And chocolate. Chocolate for mothers, technically.
Are you speaking from experience, Lexi?
Yes. Food in general. Yes.
Okay, seriously, guys. In all honesty, the scriptures say to treat your wives with ultimate love and respect. And one thing that I would say practical for women, and you girls can tell me if I'm wrong, deep down inside, we all want to be that princess. We want to be treated nicely. We want to be spoken to nicely. We want to be respected and loved nicely. We like it when guys open doors. We like it when they let us go first. Deep down inside, that's what we want. We want that. And it says that husbands should love, right? Husbands should love their wives as Christ loved the church.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be ready to lay down your life and sacrifice for that woman. And let the man be the head. Let him look out for everything else that's going on. You got big shoes to fill.
Then what did you want me to say?
Something towards the girls that they need to understand about guys.
Understand about guys.
Or whatever you want to contribute to them about guys. I don't know.
would say that most guys like it when, in my case, my wife or tells you enjoys what you do. They notice the projects you do. They notice the car door that you just opened. You know, just we're building things and we're proud of those things. Sorry. Because we do. That's kind of what we do. Is we build things. We can try to complete projects, things like that. And when people notice that's kind of gives you confidence in what you did. And so noticing those things are big for most guys. And then, I mean, that's one of the biggest things that I could probably say. I don't know if Keish would agree with that, but when you do things like that, when somebody notices, it's big.
Yeah. Well, I can say as a young man, when I evaluate myself, it was very important that I learned as a young man that there was a difference when a girl liked me, because I played football and attention wasn't a problem. But there was a difference when a girl liked me and I said, okay, we'll try it, versus when I actually pursued a girl. And I say that to the women in the sense of, you don't want a guy to like you just because he knows you like him and they say they'll try it. You want to be patient and let him pursue you. And I saw that in my life when I actually pursued a girl. It was very different than, she like you, Keish. Oh yeah, we'll try it. No, seriously. So my advice to the women is like, yeah, I don't know how you do it. You can give your signal or sign or whatever, but be patient and let him pursue you. And that he knows the Lord. I would encourage you that he knows the Lord. Anybody else want to add anything?
I just added on to what Kendra said. There's enough men that don't treat their wives and or females in general with a lot of respect. And I would say that, you know, when you have a girlfriend, when you have a fiance, when you have a wife, you know, treat them as their gold. You know, because they truly are. It's someone that God's given you as a gift to be a part of your life, and treat them exactly that way.
Yeah. All right. Can we circle up and we'll pray, and then I know y'all can go back to your free time. Yes. Sweet. All right. Thank